Hi there, and welcome to the Tarot webinar, Meditations, how to build a destiny of yourself, and how to do spell working with the tarot cards. We're going to use two decks tonight, and that's the Thoth Deck and the Rider Waite Deck. Now, why choose those two decks? Well, basically, let's start with the history of the tarot, okay? And the history of the tarot is that number one, the tarot comes to us from King Solomon, and it was translated by Eliphas Levi, and it was this great thing that was supposed to be a divination tool, and it is a divination tool, and it's but it's become a little warped in modern times. With that being said, the original tarot deck had no pictures to it. The original tarot deck simply had a lot of memorization, of visualization that you had to do for each card in the deck. Was kind of like the playing cards that we see now. There were no written definitions of what was a reversal, and the reason why that was because how do you know if a Jack of Diamonds is reversed? You don't. They're similar on each side. Also, it is stated by Levi, and then through all times, that true divination cannot be manipulated by the hand of man, because that would not be divination then. Now, if we think about it, shuffling is not a manipulation, but it's sort of a trial of the spirits to put the cards in what they want, on the order they want them to go. However, the way we flip the cards, if you flip them front to back or side to side, you actually are controlling whether or not they're reversed. That's a manipulation by the hand of man. That's why there was no reversals written. Even when Waite put the pictures to the cards, there was no reversals written by him. I know U.S. Game Systems has put reversals into Waite's boxes of tarot, but if you have the original picture of tarot, there is no reversals listed in that book, and that's because, again, man cannot manipulate the tarot. So we discount any reversals as a manipulation of our hands. And since there was no real definitions written, and the tarot was meant to do 4 things for us. Number 1, give us an outlook of what was going to happen in our lives. This is not to say that we are to take it as set in stone. This is instead a way to see if what's coming up is something that we want or something that we don't want. This is a way for us to control the bad things to not happen, the good things to happen, and if we see a little lump on the head coming towards us, does it serve a greater purpose? And should we take it, or should we kind of skip away from it because it serves no higher purpose for us? Now, with that said, the differences in the decks that I'm using right now is Thoth and Rider Waite. And the reason why, again, I chose those two is the Rider Waite took the definitions of Levi, and not the prettiest deck in the world, but the most symbolic in meaning. And most of the decks that you see out there right now in today's market are simply artist renditions of what Waite was saying. But they've lost the whole symbolism, and they expect you to memorize a card. A card is never meant to be memorized because 2 lines will never get you what you want. It is the entire picture of the card, the symbolism inside of it that really means something to you. Each card tells an entire story and not simply a sentence in that story. The cards are meant to create an entire book of the next 3 months, not a sentence for the next week. Remember, things don't change in a week. So, cards are meant to be done every 2 to 3 months. Now, timing of the cards, it's almost an expected understanding that cards can't tell you Saturday at 5 p.m. Any reader who says that to you is lying. They can give you an approximate, and you can pretty much, you know, if you have years of experience, get it down to that, but not 5 p.m. That's ridiculous. So when you are laying out the cards for spell working, keep that in mind, that you can't tell a card inside the spread Saturday at 5 p.m. because the card doesn't understand that. Neither does the universe. Time is only relevant to us, and only relevant to us because of our mortality. The minors we're not using this evening, but we are going to use the majors. The minors are a minor influence to what is going on in our lives, and we're broken down into what Solomon called the only necessary portions of our lives, and they also related to, let's say, elements and planets. And so, and again, we see around 1940, we see tarot being, again, twisted a little bit. You see, people don't understand what the elements were supposed to be, and I'm not sure whenabouts it happened, but I believe it was out of the Wiccan genre that twisted some of the elements to the cards. And of course, that was personal opinion, and that's fine. But I like historical meanings of the cards, and so with the historical meanings of the cards, we're going to go with this. Wands are air; they're not fire. And the reason why they're air is because in most decks you see them made out of trees, or wood, branches, something like that, with living leaves on them. I don't know where you think that's fire, and the fact that the cards mean movement and communication. That goes to Mercury. Mercury is air, and traditionally wands are an air-based format of magic, especially in ceremonial magic, and tarot made no exception to that rule. The swords, which are used for conflict, which directly goes to Mars, is fire. Because how do you make a sword? I mean, you don't wave it through the air. You got to pound that in fire and melt down the steel and harden up the steel, and you know it's very warlike, and that's a fire aspect. The cups are feminine, and they're water. They go to the moon, and that's your relationships and things like that. And your pentacles are your coins or whatever. They're to the sun, and they are actually very earth-based, even though they're sun-based inside the alchemy. And that's because earth traditionally gives you prosperity and money. So now again, we're not using them, but if you wanted to include them in the spell working, then you use your numerology, and you use the direct meanings of the cards, and you can use those as minor influences. However, in spell working as well as meditation, I suggest that you pull out your majors and you use the major influences that have more of an impact to you. Okay, so let's see. I explained tarot's divination. Explain as now the idea behind using the Thoth Deck is because where I said that most of the cards are a rendition of Waite, Thoth is not. Crowley went a different way, and although a lot of the cards have similar meanings, he did an aspecting that was a little bit different in the cases of element as well as definition of it. And his artwork doesn't show as much symbolism in it, and so it's a fully remembered and memorized system. But nonetheless, it has some really interesting aspects to it. And I like to mix decks. I own the Rider Waite, and I own Thoth, and I own a alchemical Egyptian antique deck, and I own a Babylon deck, and I own, and it all brings in just a little bit different aspecting to it, and it allows me to meditate on 4 cards, 4 or 5 cards, one from each of my decks, And then back it up with a Jungian psychology archetype deck and an angel oracle mantra deck. And it gives me a great insight, and it allows me to plan out a lot of what's going on in my life with a more in-depth understanding and knowledge. And for those of you who have listened to previous webinars, it goes back to the whole story of the squirrel, the wolf, and the eagle, and staying within the swirl of alchemy. You want to reach out to as many branches as possible on the same tree to get different viewpoints and sights of what's going on to one spot in your life. Okay, now we're going to, you can see that I have and what we're going to cover next, and that is the majors for the definitions, how we're going to work with them on meditations and spell working. Then at the very end of this, we're going to actually go through a layout on how the cards are used to create your destiny for the next 3 months. And then I will open this up to Q&A. And I will try not to be so dry and boring this evening. All right. See, I got you. I got you pretty little graphics. All right. So we start with the Fool card, which is 0. Now, in the Waite deck and understanding the numbers of the cards and the way they go on the top of the cards has actually nothing to do with numerology, believe it or not. It is actually used to place in order to show a story that is happening. And it's really amazing when you see the pattern of it. It truly is, because you go from one spectrum to the next, from the Fool to the Magician, and it tells a story of direct opposites of each other as we go through the majors. Crowley, on the other hand, actually did do it to numerology and understanding that the 0 meant all and nothing. Okay? So Waite had it as a warning, an omen, having everything going so well for you that you have your head in your clouds. And you want to look for that is around you to pull your head down to earth and see what's going on before you walk off that cliff. And it's great because in his card, he actually shows, I'm going to point my pointer to it, little doggy there. That doggy's all barking at you. Hey, pay attention. Bring your head back down to earth. Come on down. You're about to walk off a cliff. The great thing about this card is if you see that foot right there, that foot that's behind, it's not actually stepping off the cliff yet. It's not even in the air, meaning you have plenty of time to pay attention to what's going on around you and stop yourself from going off that cliff. We know that he's doing well because of the way he's dressed. Okay, he's dressed quite well. And we know that this is also a transformation going to happen, and the reason why we know that is right there in that little tiny circle is the Hebrew letter Shin. And the Hebrew letter Shin means teeth, actually. You chew something up and you transform it into something that is palatable for the body. Well, that's what this is about, going through a transformation. We know that he's got a lot of things going on, and it's not really a death because he's got that white rose in his hand and the bird on the satchel. And again, there are 14 rays there, which is 5, and this is where Waite used the numerology because 14 is 1 plus 4, which equals 5. And in most basic numerology systems that are used in ceremonial magic, we break numerology down from 0 to 10. All numbers are broken down into those into that realm, and we only have to know what 0 to 10 means. In gematria and the Crowley system, there is a book that's thicker than my hand for every number out there. But if you look at it, it all does basically break down to the 0 through 10 definition with just a little bit of a tweak on it. So 14 is 1 plus 4, and that equals 5, and 5 we know is foolishness. And there's where you've got your Fool card. So in the Thoth deck, it's true innocence, a perfected state of joy and freedom, the sure feeling to be one with the spirit of life at any time. And you see how this is kind of going in a different direction. Now, you're free to be in the spirit, and you see the spirit flying around him to encompass him. And at this point, you have let go, and you've got the butterfly right there for transformation. And you do have the beast that is hanging on to him, and it's not so much warning him as it is just hanging on to him as he liberates himself. How do you use this in a meditation? Well, here's the thing. You pull these cards, and in the meditation, and you can either choose, and you can do this one of two ways. You can choose the card to meditate on because that is what is in your head right this second, or you can put the majors together and pull a card and ask the universe, is this what I need to be meditating on? And in a sense, that's a form of divination in itself. And then the universe tells you exactly what's going on that you need to meditate on. If you're using, and you can combine, like I said, you can combine. There is no worries on combining this or pulling one card out of one deck and one card out of the other deck to see what's going on, because there is a different angle and it may hit you just the same thing. You know, different sights. It's really amazing when you open your eyes up to different paths and different sights, because you get so much more of a view. And so, you know, if you pull one of these cards in meditation, the first thing that you want to focus on is what is going on around me. You want to meditate and open up your mind to see things clearly. You want to question what's going on. You want to look around you. In the case of the Waite card, it's kind of telling you to watch yourself in business and success. In the Thoth deck, Crowley's card, you want to understand that it is telling you to let go, to be free, to play the fool, to enjoy life a little bit. Okay? In the building of manifestation, you wouldn't really want to include this in the visualization spread that you're going to put out, because it doesn't serve any purpose for you unless you wanted to put it down in, say, the beginning, so that if you think you're being the fool, that you wake up and watch the omens. In the Thoth deck, you would place that any time that you wanted to feel free with the spirit, and depending on the working you're doing. For spell working, and I'm going to quickly go over to, I want to show you really quickly the spread. Okay? Don't get seasick with me now. The spread that you would put it on. Now this spread tells you in the now, that's card number 1, to the 3 months from now, that's card 15. Well, if you're working a destiny spread, what you're doing is you're placing the now and then all the way up in numerical order to the 15th card from the 3 months from now on what you want to happen. Okay? This tells your story to the universe. This is what I want to happen. This is what I'm going to visualize on. This is the energy and the vibration through visualization that I'm sending out to the universe to create my destiny. That is how it works for spell working also. If you're doing it for yourself, well, then it becomes the destiny work. If you're doing it for someone else, it is what you want to see happen to them. Now, you can tweak this a little bit better, like putting justice and things like that, where they get seen if they're being crooked or something like that. So you want to kind of, you know, be wary of what you do and watch it, because all of this states what you're doing. You can put some minors in there if you want to fill some spots up with coins and stuff like that. And, you know, 10 is an achievement of goal with more to come. So if you wanted to put 10 of Pentacles in there, then by all means, throw a 10 of Pentacles in there after you've done some major work. Be like, and now I'm celebrating a lot of money. So again, this is the general state of what you want to lay out in your spell working. Not your meditation, your spell working. Okay, now let's go back up here. So, when you use it in spell working, you want to create what it is from top to bottom. So really sit down and think about it and understand how you're going to build it Step 1, Step 2, Step 3, Step 4, Step 5. Not just, okay, Saturday I want to be rich. Okay, that's great. But you do want to figure out what steps it takes to get to that, so that the universe knows how to do it. Because Saturday I want to be rich means you get run down by a hammer and you're like paralyzed from the neck down, but you're rich. But, you know, that's going to be eaten up in medical bills. So be very careful and make sure that your steps are actually put out for you. Our next card is going to be the Magician, and in the Rider Waite Deck. It's everything that you need to do a task, alchemically placing all in order for the right timing. It is the right timing. All 4 of the minors are represented in front of you, and all you need to do is reach out and take them. Now, see, this is great because in this card, you've got the above and below. So you've got the entire polarity. All these symbols on the table are the 4 symbols of what you need in life. Money is your pentacles, relationships are your cups, getting through your conflicts and roadblocks are your swords, and your communications and movements are your wands. He's got the little snake around his waist, which is the Ouroboros, and that's for every beginning there is an end, for every end there is a beginning, and it's around the solar plexus, showing strength and energy. And then you have the eternity symbol above the head, and above the head it shows that he's got a lot of internal knowledge. Okay, so his knowledge is great. Now, there's alchemical symbols on the desk, and what that tells us is everything is ready. He's ready. You're ready. They're ready. Do it. What are you waiting for? Get to it. Move on it. You've done everything. Your time is now. Let's go. Let's go. Get it. In the Thoth deck, it's consciousness, represented by what's coming out of his head. Action, what you see is flowing all around him, and of course he also has the 4 minors on his card. There, and there. Okay? And creation, he's the symbol of the idea of manifestation, the possibility of making an idea come true. He gives meaning to life, and he reminds us that the emotional creative powers of our souls must have a physical basis to be of real use. Powers unused are powers non-existent. We have to free them in order to use them and to gain and renew. The Magician is related to Mercury of alchemy. So you see how this is going a little different in each direction, but kind of the same. So, you know, and here's the thing. Don't want to buy both decks? That's fine. Combine. Combine the meanings then. The meanings are what you're giving them, okay? So, now in meditation, the Magician is a great thing to have, to pull, because what it's telling you is that, and this is for both decks, you're ready. Do it. Create. Put it down in physical power. Put it in motion. Got to have that locomotion. Keep it moving. Okay? You got to move on it. It's a manifestation period, and it's a manifestation time. Only thing holding you back at this moment, you. Don't hold yourself back. Okay? Because if you let that go, you don't get anything out of it, and it passes you by. So in meditation, this is a fire under your butt to get moving on all those projects that you've worked so hard on. In building of the manifestation, you would put it as probably your second or third card down in the pyramid on how to, get everything in line and then move on it. And then you would want an activity card or a movement card right after it, some kind of wand, or it's not one of the other majors that have a movement to it. And again, this is something that you are actually going to have to format in your own head what you want. Spread out the cards and see what they mean, and then choose 15 wisely. Okay? In spell working, it is the gathering of everything that you want and how to use it inside that gathering. And so you put it in that pyramid once again, and it is how to gather what you need for yourself. Okay? Moving right along. Yep, little doggies, come on. All right. In the High Priestess, we see the Rider Waite, meaning knowledge that is hidden versus that which is known. Using intuition, but balancing between what you know, what you feel, what's in that gut. And you must sit in perfect harmony and balance between the two. And if you take a look at his card, he's between the black and white pillars. And he has the moon cradle. She has the moon cradled. She has the solar cross and yet the triple moon on her head. And she stands in front of the tapestry of, and that's faced in Tree of Life. And the pyramids, or the pomegranates, are actually in the shape of the Hebrew letter Qaf. Qaf means that which is hidden, but known. And it's, if you take a look at what's most important on this card is the scroll right there, Torah. Now, we can assume it says H, based on what we know maybe with the Tree of Life. Or could it be a T? And it's written in Hebrews fashion, and it says tarot. Based on what we know what King Solomon says about tarot, could it be telling you to use your intuition with the cards? Based on the cards. Again, this is about weighing what you know against what you think and feel. In the Thoth deck, the High Priestess, she has the balance bow on her lap, with the lotuses and the diamonds and the animal of the camel and the fruits. And what this tells us is a deeper, more subtle aspect of the female archetype, the darkness, the mystery, the psychic power, the might of the moon to enlighten the subconscious. The High Priestess is silent, passive, containing a power of her own. And when retiring from the world, we allow our subconscious to retire, or to rise. Listen to our inner voice and recognize our spiritual power. Kind of saying the same thing, only at this point it's telling you not so much to go outside the self for the intuition of what is known, but inside the self and into the intuition of what is known. Another awesome deck. Now, how do we use that in, say, meditation? If you pull this card in meditation, in the Rider deck, it's telling you to think and focus, understand and meditate. Weigh out what you know against what you feel before making the next step. And it'll be referring to the biggest step that you're making right now on your crossroads. In the Thoth deck, it's telling you that you need to rise the power from within and awaken your psychic awareness. That psychic awareness and that intuition, you need to weigh heavier against what is known. When building a manifestation, this is telling yourself in the visualization tool that you want to meditate and move on the idea that you have the right gut feelings and that your intuition is constant and always. In the Thoth manifestation, it is to manifest that third eye awakening. In spell working on the Rider deck, it is to make sure that you balance your gut feelings with what you know so that you make the right leap. And the Thoth deck for spell working, you are now weighing heavily on your intuition to do that spell and awakening that intuition and psychic awareness so that you can actually build on gut feeling alone and understanding that linear thinking has no place in that. The Empress. Big controversy on this card. Huge controversy. Everybody's got a meaning for it. Rider Waite, it's fertility, plain and simple. It really is. She's actually the archetypal symbol for Venus. She's the maternal queen upon her maternity throne. We know that because anybody ever been pregnant out there? That's what you do to your pillows behind your back so that you don't die. She represents new life in the essence of fertility and birth, She protects the mother and child for a healthy birth. This is, and I know people like to say, oh, it's creativity, and it's, yeah, as long as it's creativity of a fertility kind of sense. The entire card, the pomegranates, the maternity dress, the throne of motherhood, the crown of motherhood, the pearls of motherhood, the sitting on the Venus, the maternity blankets, or pillows, even with the Venus right there. You have the wheat, which means fertility, this waterfall, which means fertility, the forest, which means fertility, 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 fertility. Okay? In the Thoth deck, it's maternity, love, and mercy. As at the same time, she's a symbol of sexuality and emotion. She's pure feeling, absolutely unintellectual, but basically life. The Empress is the great mother representing the beginning of all life. She's the power of nature, causing change, renewal, and major plans. Again, kind of want to throw yourself. Which way do I want to go with this in the decks? So, Rider Waite, if you're going to use it for meditation. If you want to get pregnant or you don't want to get pregnant, now's the time for you to understand that. But it also is the fact that it's fertility and it's a creation of a life. Inside alchemy, that changes from fertility and moves directly to the transmutation of the self. And so you might want to use this card in the essence of transmutation of the self. Keeping in mind, though, it does have a very physical lower self adaptation of getting pregnant or getting someone pregnant. In the Thoth deck, if you're using it for meditation, it's causing change, renewal, and to start major plans. And so that's where the creativity and the movement comes in. Excuse me. How to use it in the building of manifestation. In manifestation, again, if you're trying to get pregnant, Rider Waite Deck's the way to go on that manifestation. And if you're trying to change plans, then you use the Empress from the Thoth deck. If you're using one deck solely and you don't want to get pregnant, leave the Empress out and choose another creativity card. It would work better for you. To use it in spell working, again, you put it in that pyramid and you say whereabouts you want it. Now, if you're pyramid working with just one deck or the other and you want to get pregnant, you use the Rider Waite deck and you put it approximately in the time frame that you want to have this child. Or if you're already pregnant, you put it in the area of where you would be giving birth, and so that it protects the child. If you're using the Thoth deck solely, then you want to put it where you want the major change or the renewal or the birth of something creative to come forth. So many great things that you can do with the decks. It really is. Really like the decks. Now, in the next card, number 4, the Emperor. The Emperor in Rider Waite is really a rigid and inflexible time and mating with someone in your path. It's like an obstacle, but kind of a violent obstacle. There is no negotiations to this, and it might be a way for you to find another way around. Now, in a positive note, if you wanted to use it in, say, manifestations or in your spell working, you can, if it's going to be for yourself, of course, you don't want to put a block for yourself, but you could say, hey, I have this tendency to not stand my ground, so I'm going to put the Emperor in to represent me. So, but you got to remember, in this case, you got a lot of Aries, whole lot of Aries, and the globe that he holds in his hands, the globe that he holds in his hands, you'll notice it's got a little tiny like thing on the top, and everybody goes, "Oh, it's the world! It's the world! It's the world!" I worked ammo. I'm a veteran from the U.S. Air Force, and I worked as an explosives expert. And that little thing in his left hand, that's actually called a piss pot, and it's a bomb. It's an old-fashioned bomb. We have it as our logo for ammo. If you look up an ammo piss pot or U.S. Air Force ammo, that's our logo. And we have little flames coming out of it, but it's a bomb. It's an old-fashioned bomb. It's a piss pot. And he owns the Sada. You know what that is? That's a fancy word for Ankh in his right hand. And you'll notice that life itself is not looping back in. It's a full circle that doesn't loop back in. And what that tells, and his eyes are over to the side. He's not looking directly at us. So what this tells us is somebody who doesn't listen. It's somebody who just doesn't care. He's very aggressive. He's very rigid. He's ready for war. He can blow you up. You know, he's going to light you on fire. And if you need that in your life, then you put that in as the idea of the meditation for yourself, or you can put that into your spell working and manifestation as either the need to have it. Now, if you're doing spell working for someone else, boy, that's the first thing I would do to a competing company, throw that emperor in the way so that they have a whole bunch of roadblocks. In the Thoth deck, social word, the structure of civilization, and is a symbol for law and order. May they be good or bad, but the power is behind them. And he's the abstraction of establishment, its security and stability. Again, you take away the whole warrior aspect, and yet he still has the Aries up there, and the card is all red. But he does have the lamb. He's still not looking at you. And he still has the bomb. So, I'm sorry, I'm not feeling quite well today. The idea here with him is that again, you're using an establishment, stability, and security. Sarah, what deck do I suggest? I suggest any deck that fulfills your need, and no one is not better than the rest. Each have their own aspect. And with that said, I'm going to repeat what I said in the beginning. All decks that are cutesy art and stuff like that are all a rendition of Rider Waite. I collect maybe 30, 40 decks at this point just for the artwork, but I don't use them. I mainly use my Babylon, which gives me a Babylon background, my Rider Waite, which gives me the symbolism that Rider chose, and Thoth, which throws it over to the Crowley aspect, and my ancient Egyptian alchemy. So I'm really using just, you know, some alchemical sets and sets that give me different viewpoints, not simply an art rendition of the deck. But then I don't have much style and flair. So, you know, don't take that as the aspect to what you should use. Choose one, choose a lot, choose a few. Like I said, 20, 30 something decks maybe now for artwork, because I do enjoy art. But I use 4 main decks for my readings out of them. So in meditation, if you get this, perhaps it is time for you to either strengthen yourself in this aspect and provide yourself some stability and some security. Stand your ground. Okay? Be that emperor. Okay? In the building of a manifestation, he's the driving force, that warrior, that movement in both decks. Going forward, having that foundation in your manifestation would be key. In spell working, again, if you're doing it for yourself, you build it as in the manifestation sense of strength and security. If you're building it for someone else and you want to be a little cheeky little bird on that one, you throw that down so that, you know, in the very beginning, so that, you know, the person hits a lot of obstacles. And I'm not telling you to be mean. I'm just saying, if you're going to be cheeky right. You're going to do it right. Okay? Besides, everybody knows I have a 13th commandment when it comes to magic. So, you know, don't mess with me unless I mess with you, and that's not the nice, you know, that's kind of toning down the language. But everybody knows that. So, and it's the way it should be. So, you know, I bother no one when walking, you know, but if somebody bothers me, give them a couple of chances, and if they don't back off, then they get a little manifestation spread, or the box, depending on how angry I am. The next card is the Hierophant. Love the artwork on both of these. 2 very different aspectings, though. And the reason why I say this is Waite understood that the Hierophant was a female. knowing that most ancient religions had women that were in charge that you went and talked to. Crowley went to the masculine side, and he made the hierophant, the male that you run to, as the high priest. Well, we know that Waite's is female because they wear the petitions, wear the rose and the lilies. Also, right there, the corners of her chair, right by her ears, are little symbols of Taurus, which is Venus. And on the pillars, it's Taurus, which is Venus. She holds the sign of universal understanding of religions, as does he, right there, okay? And there's no mistake, he's a he, because he's got a beard. So, but although he's got Taurus wrapped around him, so he's got that feminine quality to him. Now, in Rider Waite, it's seeking knowledge and wisdom. One should find a feminine power that has knowledge of not one, but many paths, so as to help you greatly in your path. In other words, be the squirrel. See the squirrel. Okay? It's all about the squirrel. So, you don't want to get one faith telling you all the answers. Find somebody who can get it to you in many angles. In the Thoth deck, it's the symbol for a world of belief and confession, may it be a church, sect, or a cult society. He's the pope, the druid, or the high priest in the system of creeds and dogmas. He represents the religious and intellectual tradition of a person. Maybe one person is born to it, or possibly one who has chosen it by himself. And this is where we go into two different formats of thinking. Waite tells us, go to somebody who has many. And Thoth tells us, go to one that has one. So, depending on which card you're going to use, this could be solidifying your path in meditation, if you're using the Thoth deck, or pull the Thoth card, or the idea that you have to expand your path of spirituality if you draw the Waite card. So in that meditation, it would be, what is it that I want to expand to? In the manifestation aspect, you are, I don't want to cut off the cards here, hold on. You are using this to build the manifestation of paths. Now, in manifestation, this could be solidifying the one path that you want to be on. In other words, if you're at a crossroads and you're really confused on which way you want to go, build your manifestation spiritually with the Thoth deck of solidifying. Me, when I started out, I'm 25 years old, and I did muffle that because I don't want you to, that's a lot of years ago. But when I was starting out, many years ago, I did the Thoth with the Rider, and I started it out with the hierophant from the Rider deck so that I could understand all the paths so I could choose. And then I put the Thoth hierophant down for me to solidify each path with a teacher. And so I opened it up to a lot, and then I asked for a teacher that I could go to that was solidified in each path. The great thing is that I got to learn each path in its entirety and purity. And now I can teach it each path in its entirety and purity. I have yet to sit down and throw another manifestation for myself to solidify a path, because I found out I don't want to solidify one. So I took the Thoth out of that because now I have seen every path, and I want to be the squirrel. I want to run from tree to tree. And because at the end of the day, it's the same tree with just different branches. And so I don't want to solidify sitting on a branch. So I took the Thoth one out, and I just kept the Rider in that spread. And what I've done is I've put it, took a picture of it and put it on my laptop. And so I have several spell workings that are all done in tarot cards that when I sit down, I have a picture that I can pull up on my laptop and see where I am and where I want to go still. And that way I can use several different cards and several different workings and several different meditations and several different manifestations and things like that. And when I complete one, then I get rid of that picture because I've done it. Okay, so for spell working, again, it is opening up your paths and bringing to you the correct teacher. The Lover's card. The Lover's card is in Rider Waite, and I want to explain the card of the past. This card was actually forced to be changed. It used to have 2 females and 1 male on it, and the church and crying of all kinds of debaucherous activities and heresy. The card got changed to 1 female, 1 male, and everybody goes, "Oh, it's the Adam and Eve." It really isn't. And if you take a look, and I hope you can see my pointer, but I'm right there on the robe of the archangel. And if you take a look right there is a lion's head on a serpent's body. That's the lion-headed serpent. The lion-headed serpent is the lingam, the penis. It's a sex magic thing. It's a sex magician's symbol. Now, the snake behind her shows temptation, and the fire behind him shows passion for lust and stuff like that. And so this is actually not love in the sense of, oh my God, marriage and you're going to find the love of your life, but rather temptation and choices that need to be made in a love life, and it's adultery that could be coming up. Thoth Deck shows it as the power of life, the creative love, which can be quite impressive but also destructive when one happens to disregard the fire of instinct, burning down rationalism. The card also represents a decision, the farewell of a former way of life and the full acceptance of love uncompromising. Wee bit different on this one, even though he's got the Cupid up there, but it shows, opposites coming into each other with the black and white cherubs down there, and the lion and the eagle is sitting down at the bottom. Now, in meditation, when you get this, if you grab the Rider Waite deck, it is an idea that you have to now make a choice in love and which way you're going to go. And this means that you may be having a temptation, or you must choose one that you're looking at. In the Thoth deck, it's the creative love and the understanding that you have to stay rational inside the love and true and loyal to what you're doing, and it represents a decision that you have to make. Usually it's the farewell of a type of lifestyle. In building of a manifestation, if you don't have a love life, throw the Lover's card down in that manifestation so you get some choices on what you want in life, on what to do. If it's the Thoth deck, again, it's, burning it down to solidify a relationship, not necessarily into a marriage, but at least into a commitment. And if you're going to use it in spell working, again, to bring in more lovers or to keep love uncompromised. If you're going to do it to somebody else and you want to be cheeky, and I'm going to give you the cheekiness on some of these things, but if you wanted to be cheeky to someone, then you could throw it in as some type of temptation in their love life that kind of shakes the foundation of something that they're in. Or, if you're going to be nice to someone, be nice to someone. Throw that in there so that you get them a whole bunch of dates on a Saturday night. And be nice. Be nice. Sometimes cheeky's not necessary because people will trip up themselves. Do you know what I mean? So, the Chariot. Chariot's our next card. And in the Rider Waite, it's using street smarts and nature to rein the goal into complete victory. This is what you know about nature, and using common sense that brings forth what you need to answer the questions that are posed to you so that you can be victorious. We know that because he's got the black and white sphinxes, so on and so forth. We know that it's common sense because he's dressed as a soldier, and he's got the alchemical symbols on his shoulders and on his tunic. So it wasn't book smarts. In the Thoth, so this is actually upping your common sense and using pure common sense. In the Thoth deck, it's combined powers ready to move forward. It represents the dynamic principle and the human will to proceed, the ability to use the powers of life and keep the outer and inner balance. The chariot shows a strong will, a strong personality, and at its best, victory and success. But it's also a symbol for controversial power, for contradictions that are not solved, but just controlled. This is the Trump also warns of overestimation and recklessness. With every new venture or beginning, one should check carefully whether the desired goal is compatible with one's life and inner self. Okay, here's where we've got another kind of fork in the road, let's say. The chariot itself is telling us in the Rider deck, up your common sense. Use your common sense. If you get this in meditation, it's telling you, stop trying to rationalize this. Okay? Go with that common sense, that street smarts of sorts. You know, throw down the book and handle it like you would. Okay? In the Thoth deck for the meditation, it's telling you, think wisely about what you're doing and whether or not it's really compatible with yourself. In a sense, it is telling you, use some common sense here. Okay? Stop what you're doing. Yes, victory can be yours. However, use the common sense as if you want this victory. In spell working, it is used to bring about that common sense, and of course, common sense is also synonymous in ceremonial working to success in money and business. Business is very linear, and so this would be success in business and projects and money and things like that on both cards. One card's telling you, you know, use what you know from just common sense. The other card's telling you, yes, you can be victorious. Is this the business and success that you want, though? Think about it. In the manifestation part, it's manifesting the common sense to do so on both cards. And in spell working, it brings about a enlightenment of whether or not you should go forward and whether or not it's straight smart to do so. In the strength card, the Rider Waite uses book smarts to conquer your quest. See how we're going in a story here? And this is the need to have a gentle and intellectual approach to the situation, to use one's brain to get the job done. Okay? In the Thoth deck, it's balance of contrasts and complementing one another and also building up room and time. She combines the high priestess and the magician. Both are connected. True conscious action results from realization, wisdom, and action, and wisdom based on action. Again, they're kind of telling you to reflect on what you know. But in this sense, instead of using your straight smarts, how you're going to create that victorious conquering is actually through book smarts and intellect. And intellect is considered a passive way of winning. So you use this in meditation. You get one of these cards. Both of them are telling you, go inside your head and figure out what's right by intellect. Not by brute force like the last card. Last card was brute force. This is intellect. Okay? When you get it for manifestation, this is having the smarts to continue to take out any of the obstacles that are in your path. And for spell working, it would be the same thing. It would be to know how to get rid of the obstacles before they came in a very smart and relaxing Zen way where you can just pass right through without it having to be a battle. The Hermit is our next card, and the Rider Waite, it's need to be alone at this moment, a time of reflection and meditation. The answers will be found inside oneself. We know that because he's looking down right there, and he's got the light pointing outwards, and he's standing up on a big cold mountain. In other words, I'm holding the light outwards for enlightenment, but I'm looking inwards to get the answer. You can't receive help from anyone on this one. Thoth, a retirement from the outside world, an introversion into the inner self, listening to the inner voice and caring for the inner self. He requires retreat from any high life and loud company and stands for a time of self-reflection, self-realization. You know, the same thing for both cards on that one. In meditation, if you pull this card, it's telling you, all right, I have to pull myself out, and I have to look inside myself, and I have to get away from all the chattering little monkeys around me telling me what to do. And I need a time of self-reflection to understand which way I'm to go forward on this one. The same thing when building manifestation. It's keeping those time periods inside manifestation in that pyramid where you want to relax, have no one around you, so that you have those moments where you can reflect on what you've done and see how you want to go forward without a million voices around you screaming. Okay? In the manifestation period, again, it's getting everybody away from you. In spell working, you use this time so that you can build your empire and get things done without anybody in anybody else's ear. And you can also use this so that people, when you go to do this, people don't have other people in their ears, so that they listen to their one true voice and understand what's going on, instead of being swayed or influenced by backstabbers, liars, and cheats in this world. And so, you know, this helps keep people away from backstabbing you inside your inner circle, let's say, or it's your business. Wheel of Fortune. This is a card of uncertainty. Now, Wheel of Fortune, a card that represents that which is yet to come to play. But this is important because it allows you to grasp the hold of the destiny at that precise moment and use it to build for whatever you want. Every action that you do right now builds that future. See, on the card it says tarot, and then it says Yod-Heh Vav-Heh on there. And then you've got the Sphinx, which holds the answers, and he holds the Sword of Fate, which hasn't dropped yet. You got the creatures of Ezekiel around the wheel, and they're there to trip you up and do all sorts of temptation and lead you down the wrong path. And the little creatures, those are the 4 elements and the 4 directions. They've got little blank books because they're waiting. How do we write this? There's so much in play right now. We don't even know. Do something. Set it in motion. That's a cool thing, because if you turned left instead of right, you can create something wonderful or something really bad. So you have to be careful of every single movement right now. Thoth, it's destiny and destination of good luck or bad luck, the ups and downs of life and fate, everything in motion, turning and floating, constantly changing, accidental and uncontrollable. If you pull this in a meditation card, it's if you pull the Rider Waite Deck, it's telling you, Start watching every action that you do right now, because you're building your future, and your fate is being written right now by the 4 creatures. And also be careful of the temptation to lead you down the wrong path. If you pull it in the Thoth deck, it's telling you that there's a whole bunch of flow and flux in life right now that's uncontrollable. And although that sounds like oh my God, and throw my hands up, it really isn't, because if you understand that and it's uncontrollable, then you understand the whole chaos there. Nothing is uncontrollable. You begin to format that control in ceremonial magic under Crowley, not by actions like with Waite, but with thought with Crowley. In other words, if you pull this card with the Waite, it's your actions that write your future. If you pull this card with Crowley, it's your thoughts that are beginning to control your future. Okay? In the building of manifestation, it is the art of understanding how to move yourself in the format that you want. It kind of gives you this fresh new beginning where everything's in turmoil, and that you can actually grab the bull by the horns at this moment. Pull it the way you want it to. In other words, it takes away all preconceived stability and foundation and allows you to build a new one if you're going to use it in manifestation. And spell working would do the same thing. Now, spell working again, You want to build your manifestation one way, that's fine. If you want to be cheeky, then you throw that into somebody's path so that you put them into turmoil. Don't be cheeky just to be cheeky, though, okay? I can't repeat that enough. There's just no need to be a jerk all the time unless it's necessary. And then you're not a jerk. You're just being karma. Our next card is Justice. Okay, in the Rider Waite, it's absolute justice. Keeping in mind that that double-edged sword that he holds cuts both ways. So when you get this card and you pull it, you must remember that all the time that justice is being served, if you have any fault in this, that sword's going to cut you too. You're going to receive justice. So when people go, I want justice, and I'm like, are you sure you didn't do anything too? And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, if you participated, you're going to get smacked too with the sword. Maybe not as hard, but you're going to get smacked too. In Thoth, it's vitality, energy, and power because he calls it passion. Well, this card tells us to use these riches. Most aspects of life, it's an endeavor, will have much more success when passion is put into it. So we see a wee bit of a total break from each other in the cards suddenly, where Waite is saying everything, the scales have to be equal so that things are put right. Thoth is saying, Crowley is saying, you need to put passion into this. You need to refresh enough to throw like fun and passion into it, because if we don't have passion in what we're doing, we're not going to get the ultimate success that we're looking for. So if you grab one of these cards for meditation, if you grab the Waite deck for meditation or any rendition of the Waite deck, you're looking at maybe get yourself on the right side because justice is coming. If there's a whole bunch of wrong against you, great. Then you get justice against them. But if you've done something wrong, be prepared. Now, with that said, I've always told anybody that that's ever worked for me and anybody under my charge while I was in uniform, if you've done wrong, come to me. For Pete's sakes, come to me first. Okay? Don't let me find out about it. Okay? Come to me. Just be honest. You probably won't even get the raw end of me. I'll just sigh and facepalm and walk away. Okay? And you know that you've done wrong. But if I have to find out you've done something or you've got some part in some big thing that's going wrong, I'm coming down on all of you like a load of bricks. I am one mean little woman. If you do that, you flip my little tiny Irish switch and that'll be it. And so, you know, in this case, when you get this card for meditation or anything like that, best thing you can do, and it's always been my advice, and it's always worked out for people over the few decades that I've been doing this, okay? Go tell on yourself. Seriously, go tell on yourself. If you've only got a tiny part in it, go tell on yourself. Then your justice will be not so severe, and it'll be fine. And then the rest of them, as they get caught out, oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. Let me tell you something. People in charge don't like that, and it's true. You know, any kind of circle of friends, you tell, and it's the hardest thing to do. Tell on yourself, okay, and be repentant, okay, because that works for that. That does work. It really does. I'm being honest with you on this one, okay. So now, in the building of manifestation, I want both of those cards inside my pyramid. I do. I want myself to have that passion, to have that. I mean, you guys see how passionate I can get when I'm teaching on the webinars. I mean, imagine what I do when I do my alchemical work at Babylon Gardens. Imagine what I do when I teach. Imagine what I do when I read. Imagine how I live my life consistently, because I don't do anything that I'm not passionate about. It makes everything that I do in life so amazingly successful and so deeply enriching for myself. And so I want that passion. At the same time, I want that justice. So I put both those cards down. I want justice for anybody who's doing wrong around me, and I want passion in my work. And again, I use both for spell working, and if you're going to be cheeky, then throw it down so that the person that's doing wrong gets justice. All right. All right, let's see. We are on Hangman, the Hanged Man. I love the artwork on both these cards. I really do. I know one's more simplistic than the other, but I really love the artwork. Now, in Rider Waite, this is a card of waiting and patience, and the need to take a slow breath, to know that what you have done, know that you have done what you needed to get accomplished, and now you need to stop and smell the roses for the rest of the timing to catch up with you. What does that mean? Let me give you an example. You and I are going to climb a mountain. My knees are shot. They are military around my knees. And one's replaced, the next one's getting replaced, and then the one that's replaced has to be replaced yet again. So, you and I are going to climb up a mountain. You pretty much know I'm not going to go fast. I'm going to be down below. Okay? I'm going to take a lot of rest, and it's going to be a lot of oomph from me as I'm climbing. We all have to make it to a certain point of the mountain for base camp. Okay? You rush up there, and you run up there, and you get to base camp before me. Guaranteed. That's a guarantee in this world. Only time I move fast, so you should be very scared because that means there's something coming very big. Okay? If I pass you running, run faster. But if I'm up at, you're at that base camp, you can't move further until the next day. And you can't move further until I catch up with you. So you make your tent and you get to relax. You're like the hanged man. You're sitting there waiting for everything else that you need to catch up with you the next day and the slowpoke on the mountain. Okay? That's what this hangman does. The slowpoke on the mountain. All right? You were the fast guy. So you're just waiting for the slowpokes on the mountain to catch up with you. The Thoth deck says that it's turning points in life. Showing up a need to stop and assess a situation. We hang in the air until we find a new view of the things around us, a proper way to rearrange or restart. Kind of the same thing if you think about what I just said, except in this essence, he's asking you to stop and reassess the situation to see if you want to go up that side of the mountain. What if you wanted to go to another base camp? So we're going to head on an angle instead. Think of it that way. You're still waiting. You're still up in the air. But while you're waiting for slowpoke to get to the mountain, this is your time of reassessment for you to decide whether or not you're going to go to the side or if we are going to keep the same route. And again, you just assess the situation instead of bullying forward. Okay? Now, and that's how you use it in the meditation. It's the time to assess what's going on and breathe. On the Waite deck for meditation, I always tell my people, now's the time to go get a foot massage or go sit on the beach and take a breath and wait for slowpoke on the mountain to catch up. Okay? Do something for yourself because you got another climb ahead of yourself. On the Thoth deck, it's telling you in meditation to assess what's going on and take a good look on how you want to go in the situation. Now, building a manifestation in this essence, you are looking at whether or not, if you use the hanged man in that situation, and when I use it in the pyramid for the manifestation, in the hanged man on the Waite deck, you're looking at literally putting that card down so that you're ahead of the game, and it gives you a moment, say midway up the pyramid, to relax and take a breath. You use the same thing for the Thoth deck. But it allows you halfway up to reassess the situation, but have the time to reassess that situation. And again, you use that in spell working the same way. And if you're going to be cheeky, it's to, you can put that next to a card that makes them wait too long. But again, try not to do things where you are doing things out of anger and emotion. Okay? All right. On this death card, it's a new beginning. The end of an old cycle and the beginning of a better and new one. Make the entire cycle what you want it to become by your actions at your actions at this bridge. What that means is, see how that old guy's dead down there on the ground? You got the little one that's got the flowers in the hand, all kinds of happy, woo! And you got the maiden like, oh, I'm just not going to look at you. And you got the other one, oh, please don't let this happen. Well, see, that's the three ways we handle change, isn't it? Woohoo! Let's do this. Oh, if I ignore it, it might not happen. And the other one, oh, please don't let this happen. Okay? It's going to happen. How you go into it is going to affect how it starts out. So it can be a rough road if you're going to sit there, dig your heels in and go, no, 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 no. And it's going to be a longer format of change if you say, well, I'm just not going to accept this, so I'm just going to ignore it. You can have a really good change to a better cycle, and we know it's a better cycle because the boat's going through those pillars with the sun. Okay? Have a better cycle. Right? Woohoo! Here's some flowers. Let's go. Right? Let's go. Let's do it. Let's change. Yay! Okay, everybody hates change. This is just one of those things that happens. In the Thoth deck, it's a never-ending cycle of death and rebirth as a precondition of new life and creation. For life is permanently changing. Hello and goodbye, leaving and arriving. Kind of the same thing, right? Only he doesn't show that you need to format a better way of doing things and letting go and how to grab on and run with it. You use this in meditation. If you get this, it means that change is coming. That this is the end of a cycle for both cards, shows an end of a cycle and the beginning of a new one. Okay? Either card gets drawn, meditate on being accepting and flexible during this time period. If you're building a manifestation, if you are going to put this in your pyramid, place it in an area where you're ready to shed anything old and begin something new. Okay? Do this the same with both cards. Shedding something old and beginning something new so that you can start fresh and anew. Understanding the fact that you have to be like that child with the flowers. Woohoo! Let's go! Type attitude. Okay? In spell working, you can end a cycle faster or begin one faster for you or someone else. Okay? This can be good or bad. Okay? If somebody's having a good if you're having a good cycle and you end it, there's no guarantee what's going to be greater on the other side, especially if the person isn't ready for the change. All right. Moving right along. Our next card is Temperance, or the Art. The Art is actually also renamed as Alchemy in the essence of Crowley. Okay? So, now, that said, Rider Waite, it's the need to grow what you want to build. Take time to use alchemy to bring forth something beautiful. It's the need to reconcile both sides of yourself, fire and water. See how that's a little fire angel there? He got his little foot in water, okay? So that you can continue onto your path towards the crown of glory or the crown of success. That sun that's actually shaped like a crown isn't by mistake. And of course, the only way for this fire angel to get back on that path is to go through the water. So it really is reconciling both sides of yourself. Fire is your passions and your achievements and your goals and your opinions and your go-get-em drive. And the water represents your shadows and everything that pulls you back down into the water. And you have to learn how to reconcile those two and work with them and not simply discard one. In Thoth, in the art of alchemy, the ability to solve and combine, to turn something plain into something precious. The art is the symbol for the right mixture, the right balance, the perfect balance, the standing for harmony, beauty, and peace. But it can show that sides that were previously ignored should also be lived out, and the contrast should be put together to enrich inner spectrum with new perspectives. Again, both sides of the self. You got the ice lion, and you got the fire phoenix. And you notice that she's using two sides of the cup, one of cups, one of fire. And she's got the white face and the blue face. And of course, it's just showing opposites constantly being involved. And so both cards are telling you, if you drew this for meditation or you wanted to meditate on this, that you need to now sit down, balance yourself out and your emotions, and start reconciling the times of your life and the time and the emotions in your head. How to use it for manifestation? Well, if you're going to use it for manifestation, then it should be at the bottom of your pyramid, so that you get yourself completely and emotionally ready to start out on this success, so that you have a great foundation and you have embraced both sides, that your emotions don't carry forward and ruin anything in the future. How to use as a spell working? Same thing. Place it down in the pyramid onto somebody, or place their name across it on a piece of paper, on the idea of how to balance themselves and how to reconcile themselves. Okay? Our next card is the Devil, card 15. In the Rider Waite deck, you are being chained and bound to your own desires. You'll see there that the two people, the chain's kind of loose around their necks so they can actually move. She's got a tail. They've got tails showing animalistic natures or the lower self. The archangel, which actually isn't the devil, he is the archangel of the earth, and he's also got a little Saturn sign in his hand there, but that's Uriel, in case anybody's interested. But he's got the wand, the fire torch, instead of in the higher self, in the lower self aspect, where he's doing the as above, so below. He's playing just below. Fruits of intoxication on the woman's tail, passion and lust on the man's tail. Okay? Being chained and bound to your own desires, the lower self is taking over the life and bounding you into chains. You need to make a decision to keep those chains, or examine which chains that you want off you to be free, to free your burden of feeling trapped. In Thoth, it goes the exact opposite. It is no limitations. Nothing is forbidden. Throw everything out. Okay? It's the aware of the darkness. He knows all the shadows and researching, even at a high price. And he wants us to go ahead with whatever we want, even when the results won't be comfortable. Never forget that half the great scientists in history ended up on a scaffold or were accused of heresy. That's true. So, if you pull one off the Rider deck, it is the need to loosen your burden a little bit, or at least to understand that your burdens are self-imposed. In which case, you're kind of doing what the Thoth deck tells you to. Take off the chains and at least enjoy, even if it's not going to be comfortable, what you've chosen to do, because you've chosen to choose your lower self over your higher self. If you write it from the Thoth deck, it's the need to let go and run like a maniac. Okay? Be little maniacs out there. I know you all are. Okay? So, if you grab those in meditation, that's how you use it. Building as a manifestation. I would use the Thoth one before I would use the Rider Waite one in manifestation, because the Thoth one tells me, go ahead and let loose. I might put some kind of wisdom next to it so that I don't let loose to where it's uncomfortable. If I was going to use the Rider Waite in my manifestation, it would be at the bottom of the pyramid so that I'd understand what was going on around me and what chains I put on my own neck so that I could free myself to be liberated to do other things other than work as a workaholic. In spell working, you would use it in the pyramid to actually throw yourself into taking off the chains around your neck, or throwing yourself into wild times. The Tower is our next card. And two bad cards in the Rider Waite deck. And, the Tower and the Moon are them. The other ones can be worked around. Rider Waite has it as the utter destruction in the area of your life where you feel the most comfortable. We know that because they're up on a high thing. No stairs there. They think they got it. They got their crown of glory. Here comes the lightning bolt. Boom. Gotcha. All those little flames flying down are in the symbols of yods, which is the magic creation word. Well, they're not created anymore, and they're separated, and everybody's falling. So sometimes it is actually necessary, though, for destruction so that you can rebuild something more beautiful and that works for you, especially if what is destroyed is truly not serving a purpose anymore. In the Thoth deck, Endurance and destruction. It's an allusion to sudden, maybe shocking realization that crushes old views and persuasions. Maybe the view of the whole world, even in the area of relative security, starts wavering. Our tower then falls, and with its walls around us that have become too narrow. So both of them are kind of saying the same thing. It's a destruction of sorts, but it's to build something new, and it's the need to expand. And so if I got this in a meditation, first thing I would do is look at what part of my life I thought was safest. And if it was serving my purpose, if it was something I wanted to keep, then it's for me to look at, with both cards, my God, what happened? Okay? And it might mean that I need a tiny bit of destruction so that I can expand in that area without having full destruction. And the manifestation part, well, the only time I would use this in my manifestation is at the beginning of that pyramid. If I wanted to destroy something old, or my old views or persuasion, like getting rid of my fear, doubts, and guilt, then I would put either of the towers down. That way I could build something better with a higher expansion, knowing full well, though, that destruction is going to be emotionally devastating to me as I change my views. And I'll be going through steps of anger and sadness and then acceptance and then growth, you know, the whole thing. So if you're going to use it in spell working, well, if somebody really messed with me, I'd probably put that down and just have, you know, rattle their cage. Take out their foundation. If they were being that bad, take out their foundation. I don't, you know, again, don't do this with anger in your heart. You know, if it's somebody... I've used it once. It was against a child molester who got away in court by intimidating his witnesses, and I knew damn well he was guilty, and he was an occultist, and he worked at the shop, and you know, and my name was being tied to it, and he was laughing and joking about it. I knew he was going to do it again. So at that point, it was like, you know what, buddy? Tower, boom, wrecked your car, boom, had a stroke, boom, couldn't use your weenus, you couldn't get any pleasure, you know, it took out that part of his life, you know, it was one of those things of, I just had it, the justice system failed, and I couldn't let him do it to somebody else. But of the decades that I've been doing this, as mad as I've been at people, I've never set down the tower card in my spell working. And I won't. Not unless it's something horrible. Our next card is the star. And the star card in the Rider Waite is the growing of something new, a new beginning. The planets are represented by the white stars here. Left is always the female. Right is always the male. The androgynous Mercury is out here. You're the star in the middle. And you're going to do this with absolute grace and total use of the stars in perfect harmony. This is a time of to grow a beautiful garden of the self, both higher and lower self. However, if you look, she's also pouring water back into here, and yes, that's the astrological symbol, but in a greater, deeper meaning, it's telling you, don't forget to refill your own well. Okay? Take some time out for yourself. Don't burn yourself out. In the Thoth deck, it's hope and trust for the sensitive understanding of cosmic coherence, the intuition that everything is in balance and harmony. That includes you. And if you take a look at his, the cup is feeding her, and into the blood moon, and into the water that's around her at the same time. So it's going through her and out the other end. So she's building the glorious garden, and at the same time taking care of herself. When you pull this card for meditation, it's literally for use. For you to remember, stop burning yourself out, okay? Yes, tend to your garden, but yes, tend to you. And again, with Thoth deck, it's almost the same thing. In this case, it is, you have to be in balance and harmony with everything that's around you. Okay? In the building of manifestation, this is a great card, either card, to start building something new, to begin a brand new business or project. The star is what you want, because it keeps in reference you so that you don't burn out. At the same time, you're feeding that little field of great flowers. And I would actually use both of them in the pyramid because the star, each one of them, one shows that the manifestation coming through me and feeding me. It goes from the Thoth deck from the upper to the lower. And in the Rider deck, it shows one going to the well that's below me and the earth that's foundational to me. So one kind of shows higher self feeding the lower self. That would be the Thoth deck. And the Rider deck shows the higher self creating the lower self. And you would use that the same in spell working at the same time, how to create what you wanted. And then, of course, the next card would show you what you were trying to create. And the moon. And the moon card in the Rider Waite is being brought out of safety. See, you're that little lobster thing. By lies and manipulations to be taken advantage of in order to destroy. This is by no accident. This is also a sign that you're on the wrong path. This is the time you want to stop and look around, question yourself and others. See, the moon doesn't look like the moon. It looks like the sun, but it looks like the moon. The pillars are all of a sudden right there. See, those yods are falling again? Never a good sign when those yods fall. Okay? And the road, it doesn't stop. You're supposed to be at the goal, and yet the road keeps going. And it's desolate. Yuck. Okay? So, this is kind of an omen. Hey, watch out. In the Thoth deck, the moon will lead us into the darkest depths of our soul, into the world of subconsciousness where there are no more words, just images and notions. Represents a journey into the darkest night and a look behind our own face. A little bit of everything there. So if you grab like the Rider Waite one in the meditation, it's telling you you're being drawn out. Watch who's around you. Watch your closest people that you're talking to. They're the ones going in your back with a dagger. Not a good idea. Okay? It also tells you wrong path, wrong path. They've lured you to the wrong direction. You're going the wrong way. Stop, stop, stop. Retreat. Okay? If you draw it in the Thoth deck, you're looking at literally the idea of the moon going into the self to find the self. This is a self-realization. Now, if I'm going to, and you'll meet your bad demons in that one. That's your Da'ath, by the way. Now, if you're going to use this for building of manifestation, I'd use the Thoth deck one for manifestation first, because that lets me look into myself and stop myself from, the face behind the mask, stop myself from being my own worst enemy in any manifestation form. In the moon card for manifestation, I might use it if I thought I was being lured out. I probably wouldn't put it in my spread at all because I don't want to manifest being put down the wrong path. And spell working, again, cheeky, pull somebody on the wrong path, make them see their own demons. Now, here's the thing. If you're spell working and you're asking somebody to see their own demons, you're not necessarily being cheeky. You might be helping the person out greatly by having them see who they are and their faults and what keeps them tripping up. Brings us to the sun card, where the moon card wasn't the moon card. The sun card is actually the sun card for Rider Waite. It's a fresh new beginning. We see that by the naked little child on a nice white horse. Okay. Return to hope and innocence, where everything was and is possible. A success on new projects and fresh starts. In the Thoth one, it's life and light, for the power that it always is generously giving without reducing itself. Vitality and optimism, the blossoming of our nature, and is a sign that we've overcome the time of darkness and are ready to enjoy the light. Kind of the same thing. So if you grab these in meditation, it is to let go of that pessimism, to let go of that, everything's crap and everything, let go of it, all right? Have that innocence of the child's eyes of, yeah, I can be a rocket scientist, let's do this. Because you can be. You can be. If you put your mind to it, it is possible. And so that's how you would use it in the manifestation too. Either of the sun cards I would put somewhere in the bottom to middle portion of my spread, showing that I have this brand new, fresh outlook and movement. And I might use the Rider Waite and then more towards the beginning and the Thoth deck more at the end because it shows, woohoo, we're ready to run. And it is success and it is achievement. And so, and that's how you use it in spell working to put it into the spread that way. And I'm still going to go through some more of the spell working, and I'm just kind of going because I said this was an hour and a half seminar, and we're going to go a little further, and that's okay. The next one is Judgment, and Aeon by Crowley. Rider Waite says it's a time for everything to be crystal clear, a time for everyone to be held kind of naked, for the truth to be seen about everyone and everything, including you. This is a time of rebirth, a rebirth of anew, with secrets and skeletons now out in the open. This is a time of finality to the masks and a time of liberation. See, when we can finally say, oh, thank God, everything's clear and I can just take a breath now. I got so deep into this and I just need out of it now. Take that weight off me. Thoth says, change is dictated by the times. It addresses finality and destruction as well as liberation, hope and redemption. The Aeon is the symbol for the rise of Phoenix. And it stands for a time of insight, the true understanding of the circle of life, of growing and fading. This card tells us that we should leave our frog perspective, and the frog perspective is because a frog only sees its pond, and watch for the things from a higher level. The time has come to face the new, that we need a good overview to build our utopia. Both of these are seeing further than what we need now. If you grabbed Waite's Judgment card out of the meditation, it is a time that your skeletons are going to be shown, and that enlightenment will come, and that you can let go and start fresh and anew. If you grab the Thoth one, it is the same thing, only now you get a bigger overview for your utopia. If you're going to build that in your manifestation, same thing. Okay, the manifestation tells us that we're going to move it further into a larger utopia. On the other one, in the manifestation pyramid, says, all the liars and backstabbers get shown to you. Okay, and you use the same way with spell working. If you think that you're getting backstabbed, have this card on your altar or in a pyramid for spell working so that you can see what's going on around you. Okay. Our last card is the world / the universe. Okay. In the Rider Waite, all the destiny has been written by you. We know that because those 4 little critters from the Wheel of Fortune no longer have their little books open. Success and achievement are yours. You have achieved your goal. You have successfully walked that path. Okay? Enjoy it. But remember, see that little red ribbon? For every beginning there is an end, for every end there is a beginning. So enjoy your victory now, knowing that there's still, there's a new path to walk to attain greater. In Thoth, the symbol for the zenith of development, the achieved goal. The work is done, or soon will be, and you've found our place in life, or will soon do so. So how do you use this in a meditation? When you grab it, and you're meditating on it, know that the successful end is to your goal, and your path right now is about to come, and that you should be enjoying it, and not just rushing off to the next one as fast as you can. Celebrate a little. How do you use it in the manifestation platform? Dude, that would so be my last card. It really would. On the top of the pyramid, boom, I got the world. Boom, I got the universe. I'd even follow both of them right up against each other. Card 14 and 15. Universe, world, or world, universe, whichever way you want it to go. Boom, both of them. Okay? Everything. The developed, achieved goal, success and achievement, done. When you're working in spell working, that's the one that you want to put down as your goal. You want to have the goal as the world or the universe. Now, I'm going to show you the pyramid again. That I have always worked with. Now card is number 1. Everything building up to card 15, which is about 3 months from now. If you wanted to do a smaller pyramid, you could. Just lessen the cards. And it lessens the amount of time. But it doesn't give you a greater foundation. And spell working, you can use it in this format, or you can just use one card. Well, that one card you would place on your altar, or maybe a photocopy of it in your wallet, or as your screensaver or something. So that would be the one card that you are working towards in spell working. For manifestation, use this pyramid and take a picture of it, or keep it down there if you'd like, or draw it out, or whatever you want to do that makes you feel like you've actually captured its essence. Then work it, timing at your timing, like 1 through 5. It's usually about usually at 1 through 5, 1 through 7 is about the next month, okay, and 8 through 12 is about 2 months from now. 13, 14, 15 is about 3 months from now. So you kind of run it in that gamut, and you build what you want from the tarot. So the tarot can be used, and also this spread to show you now to 15 on what is going to happen. In manifestation, it's what you're going to make happen. And in spell working, it's what you're working towards in your spells. And then you would run the spells accordingly to the timing. So, now with that said, I didn't cover the divination part, and that's not what this webinar was about. I do actually have a small treatise written where the Rider Waite Tarot is broken down by symbology on the card. Every picture is broken down on symbology. And I'm just putting this up here for the webinar video. But this was brought to you by Babylon Gardens of Author Karen. You can use great things to set yourself up on any of the workings, such as a divination blend. And, of course, Babylon Gardens, and I'm the master alchemist for it, has all the incenses, soaps, and lotions of that divination blend. And it also can be found at Panpipe's Magical Marketplace, which is the nation's oldest occult store, located in Hollywood. Babylon Gardens is located in Burbank, but we're really online. We don't have a storefront. My books on tarot and alchemy and witch slapping and spell working and spells in a box, plus so much more coming, including alchemical herb encyclopedias that are done by alchemy, and recipe books are all coming at JymieDarling.com, and also can be found where you can lick, touch, and feel it at Panpipe's Magical Marketplace. Now I'm going to stop the recording